I'm so glad that John pretty much set me up as the large corporate representative in the room, and I'm very sorry that I am the presenter who is keeping you from Taco Vino. So I'm going to try to keep this interesting for you, and what I hope to do in my presentation is to actually give you a sense of what the lens and the perspective is from the corporate world in terms of what we do in CSR, corporate social responsibility, and CI, community investment. And so I'm a community investment manager at TELUS, and my focus is really around providing opportunities for community building and development through grants and partnerships, sponsorships, as well as team member engagement of our actual TELUS team members in community. So, as John mentioned, ROI. I was formerly with the Vancouver Foundation, and our sole purpose of being and our entire mandate was about building healthier communities. At TELUS, that is not our sole mandate. We are a business, and so I wanted to share a couple of specific ROIs that I think might be interesting for you to see. So these factors really do make a determinant as to how and how much we will get in our community investment budget. So community investment, my team, we are seen as a cost center within the company. We do not necessarily bring in profit. However, we are an influencer within the company. And so these are the ROIs that are really important to us. We do a survey of Canadians every year, and we ask you what your likelihood to recommend to tell us as a company is. We ask you about acts of responsibility in society, and I'm actually quite surprised this isn't higher, but you can see the trends that they are increasing every year, which I think is great. And does our CSR community investment influence your decision to stay with us as a company? That's increasing quite exponentially here. So I think that these are incredibly important factors for us and the reasons why we do community investment. Another great research from the States is the Cone research firm, and they solely look at CSR and community investment and what the trends are and what consumers and the general public think about this field. And so what we want to take away from these numbers that are increasing every year around what people are expecting of corporations is that corporations are increasingly having much more space to be involved in social impact and to be involved in community work, just as nonprofits, charities, and individuals do. And so the areas that are most important are the red. This is really the CSR. So this says that change the way they operate, for example, sourcing materials more responsibly or reducing the environmental impact of their factories. So the way we operate and doing it responsibly for humanity and also the environment is CSR. And then this is where I see an incredible opportunity for community investment. This increasing number is around how corporations apply their unique business assets, such as technology and research, to speed solutions to social and environmental problems. I think there's two interesting facts around this. That we use our actual assets as a corporation, what we do in business for social impact, but to actually help speed the solutions, not necessarily be the ones who create them, because I think this is where we really heavily rely on the nonprofit and charitable work that you do. So the other thing about corporations I want to mention is that they cannot be lumped into one category. I think I hear often phrases of, we want to see corporations more at the table. We want to see business involved. You're not one big, giant industry. There are many, many industries. And so just to compare ourselves with our own industry in the telco area, these are the figures around CSR and community investment dollars from Bell, Rogers, and Shaw. And I think as Eli mentioned, part of our efforts of being the best have been really around our commitment around dollars. And just last year, we contributed over $46 million in community. And this is more than the total sum of our large competitors. This comes from an individual who is our CEO, Darren Entwistle. He really champions community. And I truly believe that we would not have what we have as a community investment team without his personal championing of community investment. So having that leadership is truly key. Because of his leadership, we have an executive leadership team that truly believes in community investment as well. And because of it, we have a team of about 40 staff. That is the largest community investment team in Canada. If you're not aware, you might want to check out the list of members who are involved with the Conference Board of Canada's Corporate Community Investment Council. That is a great starting point for maybe some of you who are wanting to have more profound conversations with corporations who are interested in community investment. The members of that group are all involved in community investment, all at different levels. But just to give you a bit of a sense of the context of this field, it is still a very nascent field in the corporate world. Community investment managers, there's usually about one or two within a corporation. They usually sit within the public relations department or the marketing department. So you can kind of see where the intentions are in that. Our team is held within the HR department, and that's quite intentional because we are all about engaging our team members around the community as well. So just to give you a sense, like Shoppers Drug Mart, how many community investment managers do you think they have? One person. One woman out in the headquarters in Toronto focusing on women's health for Shoppers Drug Mart. You know, the interesting question about organizations moving away from tax receipts. We posed that question to this council. How many of us are really needing tax receipts? You know the people who put up their hands? Potash Corp and the Mosaic Company, both in the potash industry. They get taxed 35% on their industry. That is a Saskatchewan tax, specifically on potash. So for them, a tax receipt is incredibly important. So I think that I'm sharing this in terms of needing to know who your partner is as a corporate partner in community investment and community development is really key, because knowing what their pressures are, what their context they're working within, is going to help you in having conversations with them. So what does TELUS do around community investment? Well, this is our focus. I hope that many of you know our slogan, we give where we live. So we give where we live to help drive better social outcomes in our local communities across Canada. We are very, very localized in our giving, because for us, what's important to our employees and what's important to our communities that we operate in is what's going to help us in helping community development. And how we focus on that is through technology and youth. And we try to cover all bases by these three pillars: health and well-being and environment, sports and education, and arts and culture. And just as John was mentioning that sometimes people don't know what we're doing, it's because we try to do a lot. So there's a number of areas that we're trying to target community investment. And this is also partly why we have such a large team of about 40 staff, because we're trying to do charitable partnerships, grants, we're trying to do employee and retiree giving and volunteering, cause marketing, youth giving programs specifically, and humanitarian relief. So what I want to share with you are a couple of examples of what we are already doing in this space. But by these examples, I'm wanting to also invite you to think about what you're doing, how perhaps you're currently harnessing technology for the work that you're doing, and or how you can harness technology, and perhaps have a conversation with us afterwards around how we can actually better partner together on the work that you're doing that can also help progress the work that we're doing for true partnership opportunities. So one exemplary example, I would say, for youth and technology all in one is a partnership we've gone into with Free the Children around the We365 app. So you can download this right now. It's a free app through the App Store. And this app is a social platform for youth to specifically find out about causes and issues they can get involved in. They can post causes, but you as nonprofits can also post your causes and initiatives that youth will be going to and filtering through to get engaged and involved. There's a number of different calls of actions that happen through this app, and for us it's really about how do we get to the individual, the youth, the individual we want to have engaged in issues, and how do we harness the many, many causes that are out in our communities, the nonprofits and charities and the works that they do. I think for us, this was a big, big win, because this meant we could create helps for creating one app versus creating an app for every charity that we like to see. And some of the other partnerships we have in health, and I'll talk about health specifically a little bit later, but we have a long long-standing partnership with the JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and hope you'll all be out there for their walk on Sunday, June 8th. There's one in the Fraser Valley and Stanley Park as well. But we're really helping to focus in on the research around juvenile diabetes with them through our electronic medical records and through our technology around health. For us, it's really important to not only support an important cause, but to see the opportunities to actually apply technology to help the solutions that organizations are trying to find. 60 Minutes Kids Clubs, again, also is an online platform for teachers to use with their classrooms. And there's a really great competitive edge to this, where a classroom in Newfoundland can compete with a school in Northwest Territories around what acts kids are doing every day to make healthy choices, whether it's eating healthy foods or it's actually getting some exercise every day. One of our, what I like to think, the most altruistic, although John might say that it's not, is our grants through our community boards. This was again championed by our CEO, and he initiated boards made up of external and internal community leaders who help us make decisions around local giving. And so we have this hyper-localized way of granting donations throughout the country and internationally. We've currently got operations through community investment in the Philippines, El Salvador, Guatemala, and next year we'll be in Bulgaria and Romania as well. So some of the technology examples of straight-up donations versus partnerships are some of these. And we've been able to fund in Victoria, supporting through the University of Victoria, helping students with disabilities who are going to university with ways to be able to be more independent as they access their courses, as they go through school. And then also in Ottawa, providing technology for youth with disabilities to communicate. And I think what's always compelling for the work that we do is when it's an individual like Oliver here, who actually got to hear his voice for the first time through technology. And then lastly, a local example here is the Children's Hearing and Speech Center of BC, and we have supported them extensively over the last 7 years. And we're really helping deaf children to hear and to speak. So these children might get a hearing aid, and so they're taught to actually utilize their hearing aids, or they'll get a cochlear implant, and kids are taught how to hear and speak. And it's really incredible to go to the center that's just on the east side of Vancouver, and you hear a group of deaf children singing. It's quite impactful. So again, these are very specific examples of how technology itself is really helping to support the social impact that we're wanting to see in the communities. And then going back to our core business, what is our core business at TELUS? We're a telco. What we do is connect people. We connect people, and that in itself is a social impact. And we see it very fundamentally when I think disasters hit. So when disasters hit, we try to do our best to provide our services for free. And I think that not only is the telco industry providing a connectivity so that people can connect with their loved ones, but a sense of security and safety as well. And so this is an important part of our community investment work. And I think this will continue to grow with all of the corporations and organizations that are looking at investment, how we can be better prepared for disasters and how our core work is supporting what happens afterwards. We have so many staff members at TELUS, and we also have an incredibly big marketing department that probably is much bigger than any of the charitable marketing teams that I know about. And so one of the best ways to really get people galvanized around the community is to get back to the individual. And how we get back to the individual is really around our campaign, the Give Away the campaign, through our TELUS Day of Giving. And we have been able to utilize our social media channels to essentially ask the community, how do you give back? Because we like to give back, but we want to know, how do you give back? And we have received some incredible responses to this, and we are incredibly inspired. And I think this is where we connect again with the individual versus the charity, and how the importance of what an individual person does is incredibly inspiring. So I want to show you a quick video about this. This is Michelle's story. She responded she let us know how she gives back to her community. So I think everyone understands that image of the pinky, your pinky being linked in with a baby's pinky. And so we're using a campaign right now to to match donations to the NICU department at BC Women's, and we're doing a Pinkies for Preemies campaign. So I hope maybe at lunchtime you'll all be taking pictures of your pinkies linked with each other and posting those with the hashtag Pinkies for Preemies. I think that basically being able to partner with corporations that are able to get big marketing efforts out are a great way to get the word out versus you trying to do everything on your own. And again, it's that beneficial partnership between the two of us that is really great because we benefit also from what women's hospitals mean as well. So this is Michelle's story.
You can either kick someone when they're down, or you can put your hand out and help them. We're as eclectic as they come, I think. We've got the eccentrics, we've got the down-to-earth. There's mostly seniors, some of them are ill. My grandma used to live here, and I got to know a lot of the neighbors around my grandma, who are now my tenants. As I got to know them better, I got to see who was needing help. I'm 33. My parents always tried to give back even though they had nothing. I don't have a lot, but I try to give where I can. And if it means I make somebody a meal that wouldn't be having dinner that night, so be it. That's what my parents taught me. That's what my grandparents taught my parents. When everybody showed up today, I was like, wow, this is a lot of people. And then when I went over and saw all that food and all the people that were willing to give up their time, because I put one little post on Facebook. Thank you. There's some bread, some eggs, some milk. Those are some of the warmest times I think I've ever received in my life. It should help you just keep giving back and helping all the people here. This was above and beyond. Apparently my voice is heard. I'm hoping this, at the end of the day, will show them that giving is okay, no matter how big or how small.
None of us do what Michelle does. And I think that that's the thing is all of us as professionals, I think, working in communities and to prevent the incredible efforts that people do every day to support their neighbors and their loved ones. And that those stories are the ones that are the most impactful. I wanted to actually show, can we show the second video? Stevie? Stevie said to me earlier, he's Stevie, like Stevie Wonder. So he's really big. So going back to just my last point around really thinking about the core part of what a corporation is doing around their business. One area that you may or may not be aware of is that TELUS is moving drastically into the TELUS health area. We have acquired a number of electronic medical record companies. We are interested in this area. I think all of us know why. There are so many challenges around this. We want to be able to see elderly people to have their care from home and for technology to provide that kind of support. We want you to be able to access your own private health records, so that as you're going from clinic to clinic, that you have access to your own records and you can speak to them with every health professional you visit. And so we're moving in this direction, and I want to leave you with this one video because this is really around, I think, the concept of shared value, which some of you may know from Michael Porter and Mark Kramer, around how you actually utilize your core business as a social impact itself. I think we're finally getting closer and closer to that with the work we're doing in health areas, and I hope there will be more and more opportunities, and I invite you to have conversations with us about that as well.
I have a love of the people, I have a love of their land, I have a love of what I do as a profession. And this is a reminder of why I went into medicine in the first place. In 1999, my wife and I settled in Fraser Lake, and it became very obvious that there were needs of first. People, but the medical system just wasn't meeting. So we started to venture out into these communities doing on-reserve clinics. These people are in their home territory. The communities are geographically remote. This is where they've been for millennia. And they live there, they hunted there. The healthcare system as a whole fails to truly recognize the challenges of these communities in accessing care due to their geography and their culture and just how difficult it is to get around. My interest in trying to think outside the box of how to provide care for these communities grew, and telehealth started to evolve and started to become a tool to augment care. When we decided to relocate down to the Lower Mainland, it became a way for me to continue to provide a connection to these remote communities and provide continuity of primary care. The importance of TELUS for me is that it really arms me with all the tools that I need to stay connected. Connectivity is the backbone to allow us to do telehealth, and having a reliable, consistent connection allows the flow of the dialogue between the doctor and the patient to happen in a seamless way. We're at the point now where I forget that I'm doing telehealth. I'm just talking to a patient. And the medium over which we're doing that is forgotten because the relationships are strong. To offer my services to the neediest group in Canada, it's just what I need to do. It's what my inner compass tells me I need to do.
Some thoughts around helping to make corporations do better work in this field. Like I said, I think it's a very nascent area, and we need a lot of help outside of our organizations, our companies, to do the best work.